Hey, this is Dr. Elizabeth Medlock with your life coaching tip of the week for the week of October 8th, 2012. This week I'm going to talk about holding yourself accountable. In previous videos and in previous talks, I have talked about the idea that you have to get a sense of things that you can control and the sense of things that you can't control, and that a lot of this stuff we really can't control. But one thing that we can control all of the time is our reactions to things, the decisions that we make in life, and the actions that we take. Those are things that we're responsible for and that we can control. So when I talk about holding yourself accountable, what I'm talking about really is two things. One is doing the things that you say that you're going to do, kind of walking your talk. So if you say you're going to do something, you make a to-do list, a gotta-do list, that you actually follow through on what you say you're going to do. And then secondly, being accountable for me is also on the back end, when you do something and take action, that you take responsibility for the outcome of that action or for the consequences of that action. You say, my bad, I did it, or that was a great win, and it was my action that led to that. So you're taking some part that your actions lead to consequences. Your decisions on a daily basis lead to consequences, and you own them, so to speak, and you hold yourself accountable for them. And what that means is not being one of those people that we all know that blames everything on things outside of themselves, that everything that becomes as a result of their action and their decision and their behavior is somehow someone else is responsible for. I call them blame shifters, or a lot of the times they'll shift blame or they'll shift control to other people when really it was a consequence of their decision, of their action. So it's important, I think, to hold yourself accountable. One, for two reasons, because I think if you're going to set goals, if you're going to have a plan, if you're going to have a goal and purpose-driven life, you have to hold yourself accountable to reach goals. Because setting goals, both long-term and short-term, means you have to set into motion a series of behaviors or actions that lead you to those goals, lead you to those outcomes. And so if you don't follow through on doing the things that you said you were going to do, you are dead in the water, you're treading water, you're never going to achieve your goals. So one thing to always do is to make sure that you set up the right conditions to carry through with the things that you said that you were going to do. Whether that be putting the list in front of you, as I've said before, checking it off, whether it be a big thing as accountability partners now, which I think works really well, connecting with other people. You're going to be my gym buddy, and we're going to hold each other accountable for working out these 3 mornings. We're going to kick each other's butt into doing it. The accountability partnership works really well for that. But doing conditions to really make sure that you follow through, that you do what you say that you're going to do. But I think the second and more important part of it is, again, then recognizing that your actions and your behaviors have consequences, and you're willing to own the consequences of your behavior. So if you make a decision, let's say you take a job, and you don't do a lot of research on that job, and you jump at that job, and you didn't really research the company, and you really didn't research what your role was going to be, and so you say, oh my gosh, I'm in a horrible situation, this job is horrible, the company is horrible. Well, your lack of information seeking or your quickness into jumping into that job is partly why that job might not be so good. And so you do have to own the fact that maybe you missed a few steps when you jumped into something. Same thing with a relationship. It's amazing how some people think that they went in with blinders on, they didn't do their research. The fact that things fell apart have absolutely nothing to do with them. If you're in a relationship and you're negotiating things with other people and you're behaving and you're acting all the time, you should take ownership of the things that you own. You should own it when you say things that are kind of off the cuff. You should own it when you make promises you don't keep. You should own it when you have reactions that are baggage type reactions, like check your baggage at the door, but there's a lot of reactions that we have that have nothing to do with other people. They have to do with our internal voices and our baggage. And we need to say, hey, I did that, and that has nothing to do with you. It had to do with some other stuff, or another person I was dealing with, or a past relationship. So we have to own our baggage. We have to own our self-speak. We have to own our little quirkiness that we do. Because Nobody's perfect. But instead of blame shifting all the time and saying, well, I had nothing to do with that. Well, I reacted to you and it was your fault. It was your fault you made me say this. You made me do this. Whenever we use that language, you made me do this, you made me say this, you made me act like this, we're not taking ownership for our role. So hold yourself accountable. I think it's important. I think it's important to reach goals, but more importantly, I think it's important to hold yourself accountable so that you can really grow as a human being. Taking responsibility and ownership for our behaviors, for the role we have in things that the consequences that come, the outcomes that come, is very important, because if you don't see your role in something, you're never going to learn and grow in that moment. You're never going to learn and grow when you look at that outcome, you look at that consequence. If you say that has nothing to do with me, you're basically walking through life with blinders on. And you're not going to do the self-reflection and holding up the mirror to yourself that it really takes to grow and learn and move forward as a person. So accountability is essential on many different levels. Also, because if you don't hold yourself accountable and you're a blame shifter and you're kind of whining all the time and it's everybody else's fault, nobody wants to hang out with you. It doesn't make you such a great person to be around, such a positive energy. You end up being kind of, Debbie Downer or Donnie Downer, and nobody wants to be a downer. So accountability important for not being a downer also all the time, or that's something that I think over the course of time weighs on people's nerves a little bit. And I'm talking out of experience, obviously, here, folks, but we all know those people. You don't want to be that person. I don't want the label of Debbie Downer, across my chest, or martyr, or any of those wonderful terms that those people we don't really want to hang out with. So accountability is important on so many levels. Hold yourself accountable. It's the only way you're going to achieve your goals. You're going to grow as a person. You're going to move forward, and you're going to be cool to hang out with. I hope you enjoyed this coaching tip of the week. Join me next week with another coaching tip. Have a great week.